Hi everyone, welcome to Eve Math Tutoring. Today's lesson is on equality and inequality signs. So as you all know, this popular symbol in mathematics represents that two numbers are equal to each other. If you see the following symbol, that means approximately equal. This means does not equal. Equal, should have been straighter. And if we have the following symbol, that represents greater than, and this symbol represents less than. Now, this one gets easily confused. So when you're comparing two numbers, if one number is bigger than the other, you can use this symbol to represent that one number is bigger than the other. But to remember where to put the bigger number, I have two tricks. The first trick is, what you can do is you can put the bigger number where the arrow opens. So the bigger side of the arrow is with the bigger number, and the smaller side of the arrow is with the smaller number. So if you had a big number like 10 and a small number like 3, you put 10 over here and 3 over here. Now another way to remember that I used to share with my students was, if you think of it like Pac-Man. So if you have the numbers 10 and 3, Pac-Man eats the bigger number. So Pac-Man's mouth would open up towards the 10. Okay, so if you kind of look at it like Pac-Man's mouth, it's always going to eat the bigger number. Okay, so that's another trick. So you can use, either of those to help you remember how to write it out properly. Okay, so now we can try a few other examples here. Now, if we were asked actually, compare two numbers, and we were asked the numbers 7 and 10, and we were to write an expression for these two, we could write that 7 is, okay, so we would write that 7 is less than 10. Okay, so if we were comparing the numbers 9 and -2, well, 9 is greater than -2, so I would open the arrow up this way. Okay, just remembering, or if you think of it like Pac-Man's mouth, Pac-Man is going to eat the larger number, and same thing here. So the bigger side of the arrow is always with the bigger number, smaller side is always with the smaller. So if I want to actually say what this is in words, this is just an expression that represents that the number 7 is less than the number 10. And this one's just representing that 9 is greater than -2. Okay, so we could try two negatives. If you have -3 and -5, and you were comparing those two numbers. Now, when you're dealing with negatives, now if you ignore the negatives for a minute and just look at the numbers 3 and 5, not looking at the negatives. So now when we look at 3 and 5, 5 is a bigger number than 3. However, when you have negatives involved, it's completely opposite. The number that is, the original number that is actually, okay, now we're looking at these two examples. So 3 is actually less than 5, but if these are both negatives, 3 becomes larger than 5. Okay, so that's an easy one to mix up, so you have to watch out for that. So in this case, 3 is actually larger than -5, and the reason why is because it's less negative. The more negative you go, the smaller that number has, the less the value of that number. The more positive you go on the number line, the greater the value. Like if we actually draw a number line, and we have 0, and when you have your x-y axis, y-axis and x-axis, say if you're graphing, but if you have on the y-axis, if you have your negatives here for -5, say, and over here you got your positives 2, 3, 4, and 5, right? On the x-y axis, the more negatives you go, actually the smaller the number is, and the more positives you go, the greater the number is. Okay, so -2 is less than +2, or -5 is less than -3. So you can look at it in this way, if that helps, like a visual way to compare numbers. Okay, so this expression right here, I'll just get these out of your way here. Yep. Okay, not working. Okay, actually, that's not working for us. So, now where were we? So this here, if this just represents in words that -3 is greater than -5. Okay, that's what we're writing. This expression is represented in mathematical symbols, the following in regular English. Okay, so this is -3 is greater than 5, but in math we write it in the following fashion, using mathematical symbols to represent the two. Okay, so that's how you use mathematical symbols. And this is how you focus in on greater than and less than. Okay, so that's just a quick lesson on greater than and less than. If you have any other questions, feel free to email me, evemathtutoring@outlook.com. All right, I hope you enjoyed the video. Bye-bye.